This is Larry Casso, Director of the Baton Rouge Fine Arts Academy. I want to welcome you once again to my studio. I'm doing a little recording very quickly this morning related to a recent scene that I took a photograph of and plan on painting. And I'd like to give you a little background very quickly, and then we'll go into a sketch that won't be very long, but will enable you to really get a pretty good idea of what's involved in beginning an idea and getting all of your information down correct and this type of thing. So I would like to say that this is copyrighted material. It will be for sale very reasonably, and I would appreciate you respecting that. And also that it will only be a small portion of the scale and of the drawing, I should say. What I'm trying to get across to you is the fact that you can plan an idea clearly in the beginning by just picking out one small section that you want to dominate this picture. And that is where the failure, I think, comes in with so many people starting a drawing with no direction, and they wind up not knowing where they're going and are very frustrated, and of course it's revealed in the picture. So what I'm going to concentrate on is this scene that I took a couple of weeks ago, and it's actually something I have viewed every week, twice a week, for over 30 years in Madisonville, right on the outskirts of Madisonville. It is something I've watched through the years, with the sun hitting it at different times, produced some very interesting effects, but never was able to stop and take a picture of it. And finally, I decided it's deteriorated to the point I may not have that many more options. So I pulled over the other day because of the excellent lighting that I had, and picked this picture out, and that's what we're doing. Now, I might mention that what I like about it is all the different textures and everything, of course, all of the different things in it that you have, with like the dead leaves, the color you're getting, the wear and tear on the boards, and textures on the boards and things like that. So what I'm going to do for my study, to create this template, and this template will then tell me what to do on the rest of the whole picture. I'm going to take a relatively small section of this and sketch it for you quickly, and let's see how this turns out. Okay, we'll start like this. I'll move it over, and I might add that I'm going to take a pencil here that's a HB pencil. Now you can buy these for a couple of dollars. This is one that I've had about 45 years now and used to use a lot. They don't make them anymore, but it's just a 5mm HB lead, and they're pretty good for what we're doing right here. Now we're going to start with the basic structure of our building is really going to be pretty clear. So we'll just come down. Now notice I'm stopping, dragging my pencil. I'm continually looking at both sides of my paper, and that's the way I know that I'm doing everything correctly like I would like to do them. Now this thing has really been in a state of decay. We're going to start with this, and then of course it's probably about a 1x4, 1x6. Now notice how observing and stopping and dragging my pencil rather than one quick line, how I'm able to really determine much better what this thing is doing. Now the door comes in, and it's really deteriorating very badly, so we'll continue to show this as a board that's falling in. I want to make a vignette out of this now. It's not going to be a real complete picture. And then as we come up here, we'll start coming back down. And I just decided I might include this top part and have this come over here, and that way it will help you to fade everything else out correctly, and I think explain it better. Now this board now comes this way, okay, and this one comes this way, and it's just showing further how it's dilapidated. And then there is another board, say, that might come up to about right here. And we'll kind of draw that in at an angle. And then we'll have another board that fell out and fell over. And we'll have it come down like this. Okay. And then pick the rest of it up down here. And of course this is going to continue out to the bottom of the picture. Now, I'll come a little bit across the top. I didn't plan to put this part in, but it might be beneficial because of the interesting dark I think that we have here. And then we have the other door on the other side that's leaning likewise. And this was evidently something that was built later on. And just to be a little bit more interesting and accurate, I want to make this a little wider coming down. So we're going to do this, and then we'll start coming over on this side right here, and we're just going to include a few of the boards in it, let them disappear out of the top of the picture. So now this has got, for instance, look like about 1x6 tongue and groove, and this was built no telling when, and beautiful colors in it as you saw. So we'll go out about that far. Now, what I like, you've got a board over here on the side of it, and this is leaning just a little bit also, the front of the building. And this would be your overlapping boards, okay? Where you'd have a board here that overlaps the one above it, and we'll have one here. And then we'll just come like this. See, and we'll just go out a little bit. I don't know exactly how many of them I want to put in, but we'll just come like this now. Now what I love about doing these kind of overlapping boards, a board and siding I guess you'd call it, I'm not really sure the correct name, but we can come in like this, come in like this, okay? And what actually happens from this angle, you would see that triangular shape. And it's always fascinated me how if you just grab one little thing to a person's imagination, the brain will fill out the rest of it. And so we're going to kind of come and just establish this immediately. Now, I want you to notice that this is all related to the lighting. And I can't mention enough to you about it and about lighting, because unfortunately it's something that a lot of times it's the last thing people think about. And it should be the first, because the lighting is going to govern everything in your whole composition. So we'll just get this, and this is kind of an important area because I think that immediately begins to give you an idea of the texture. Now, I've got a couple of things on it like that. Here's an old latch that maybe is trying to fall off. Let's just put that in there. I don't want to get too detailed on this one because, as I said, I want to finish it quickly. Okay, now, we're up to this point with it. Now, I'm going to use a pencil here. It's a 2B. It's not actually a pencil. It's as you know, a regular pencil. It's actually solid graphite. And it's a 2B. And it's a pencil that it's made by a company called Lyra. And it's graphic cried. But it's not only a pencil, but it's a water-soluble graphite, so that I can add water to it and make washes out of this if I so desire. I'm not going to on this one. Now, the first thing I want to do, I want to start, and you're going to find that this 2B works pretty good for what I'm going to do now, but I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to a 6B, which is a lot softer, because I really want to pop these darks in. And then just to give you an understanding of the variety that you have in these things, I'll come over like this now. And then I'll come over like this. I'll use a group of pencils, keep it pretty simple. I like these because I feel like I'm holding a paintbrush in my hand. Now, I don't like the way this is doing. I'd like it to be a little bit more, let's see if I can get this to work. This is my 9B. And that's really, really dark and soft. It broke, as they do if you put the wrong pressure on them. You have to protect them pretty well. And so now we go into this and see, how we get that really nice, sharp, black dark. Come down to here. And then we want to come in, and I'm going to go back to my 2B now and get some of these other areas in where I can get a little bit more control, not make it quite so wide and heavy. So we're going to do this, and I just covered my latch up, so we're not going to worry about that. But I'll show you what we'll do on that later. Okay, now I want to get this in. Then we come over here, and we notice at the top that the facial board up here ends, and you can see where the door is really caving in. So let's go back like this. But now I'm pretty well know what I'm doing. I want this thing to be real solid, and it's like everything. I love these because they really do give you a solid effect immediately. You'll wear the points down on them quickly, but that's what makes it so effective, because when you use the right one at the right time, it really will give you a really nice effect. Now, every now and then, if you want to antique it a little bit, you can just kind of break the boards up and maybe show some cracks in them and things like that, and even in the actual outside textures. But I'm coming down here, and we're going to start fading this. Remember, if you don't know what a vignette is, it's where the artist comes in and actually does a lot of lines and puts a lot of information down, but leaves the edges not clear. In other words, they're not defined edges. So we'll come in here, and then we'll come in across here. Okay, and then we've got one board that comes in here, and then this one will continue like this. And as I mentioned, we'll start ending it now. I'm not really wanting to bring it out all this bottom stuff, but it does go down a little bit further, and you have other information down here. Okay, now that I've got it this far, I've got my dark here. Let's maybe drop down to another pencil. I'm not really sure what lead this is. This, again, it's a solid piece of graphite. But we're going to start putting a little darker lines for our boards. I'd say it's probably a 2B. Okay, so we're going to do this. I want this to be defined really well. Now notice, now I'm really going for texture. Okay, and I'm just going to start this right here by having this nice middle tone area come down. I'll have that little white edge on it that brings it out a lot, and come in here like this. And it'll pretty well go almost over to this other edge here, and leave a lot of the little white specks coming through it, and then come down and start taking on a little color, maybe a little lighter tone. So we'll just kind of do this, and it's really white at the top. Okay, now I'll also come in and take my 6B now, and I want to make some of this a little bit darker. Okay, so I'll start texturizing it a little bit, adding more information by just simply using a darker pencil. Now, as I come over here, I'll get another part of this that's going to be extremely soft. So I'll come like this. And I got the idea for this from one of my students. I did a sketch recently, and she just said, I wish you had something that I could use that at home and practice and use as a learning tool. And I thought, well, that's a very, very good idea. So let's start working on that. So this is how this came about. And I'm trying some new things on recording here, recording with my iPad rather than trying to buy a new camera, because I think this is going to be much more suitable for me. Now, coming over here, I'm not going to copy this part literally, because I really want this to be my center of interest, this section in here. But I know I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to come down like this, and then back over here. And then I'll get it to a point where I'll have most of this board coming down to bring it out here. But I'll leave the white spots, leave the texture in it anyway, as much as I can and want to, I should say. And then we'll just start breaking this up a little bit. And now I'm going to start picking up my real light areas here. This is what I want. This area of the picture is what I want to really be predominant. Now, along with it, I'm just copying what I see. I don't need to, but I'm just kind of filling in areas now with this, and come in and put that a little bit darker there. Now, I know I need to come in and maybe make some of this a little bit darker, so I'm going to do this and this. And I just want to start breaking it up, and then maybe I'll lose this. Just go right on over into that area here, and let it just fade out and not worry about it. Not pick some more darks up here, make this stand out a little bit better. Okay, and we put this in here. Now we'll get over here. We get into some kind of things that I like, that are really my favorite things about doing this, and that is we start coming into these boards now, and I can start and just start first of all by just putting that little extra oomph right under those things. Notice I'm twisting, but I don't know what number I've got. When I get in a frenzy like this, I just start sketching, and but I'm actually trying to bring this out, and I'm going to try to bring out a lot of the other materials in it. But this is a kind of an interesting board. All of them are, and some of them are a little darker than others. Now that I've got this, I need to go to a softer pencil to maybe get my texture in there correctly. Yeah, that's a little bit better. See, and I can just feel it. I don't need to look at a number, because I've just done this so long, and you'll get that liberty too in time. Okay, now I'm just, again, trying to establish the textures and create situations that are interesting as I bring this over. Now I may come and leave some of this white here, and then let some of this get a lot lighter as we go down. Okay, now we'll get a little bit more texture in here, but I want this to remain predominantly white. Okay, and now this board over here is going to come, and we'll start picking up a lot of white on it, come down like this, and this is kind of joined together pretty strongly here, and then maybe under here I'll have a little bit of shadow, but okay, I think this is pretty much what I want to do for this part of it. Okay, now I'm going to take the light areas first, okay, and now up here I want to show a little bit of texture on this. See, and I just come in and put just a little bit, and then in the lighter areas, you know, you can always come back and antique it like this, show different areas that you might want to put in. Okay, but I'm going to come now, there's a lot of bonds coming down here from the top, see, so some of it, they completely cover everything. So that's what I want to do. I'm just going to quickly do this and bring it down like this, and that's really the fun part about a sketch, and that is that you show kind of an illusion, I should say, of here's some of these vines coming down like this, and we'll kind of have them, and notice we've got all that vertical texture there. This kind of helps it out. So we'll do this, and we'll come down like this here, and kind of lose some of this up in here because we don't want that much going on up there. But I got a lot of the vines done. Now the next thing I want to do, I want to start taking, I think I'm going to take this now, spray it a little bit. Okay, and let that dry for just a second. And then I've got some white acrylic. I'm going to take my white acrylic and do a few more things, and let's see if this will be completely done at that time. Okay. Try to use this purely from the tube. Now, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm very attracted to little things that come across like this, you see. And so I like it, that little vine I've got going around there. Now, the only problem with this I'm noticing is it isn't going to be quite as opaque as I wanted as far as covering. So I'm going to get some other stuff that I just purchased. It's called Dr. Martin's, and it's been around a long time. Couldn't find it for a while, but I just found it at this local store. And it's actually a white that's so opaque that no matter what you do, it's going to be opaque. In other words, I'm going to sure I got all my white out of it. It's going to cover and it's going to be solid. So I want some of this coming down, and I want another piece coming down like this, and another piece coming out of here, you see. And now, as I come down here, I want to take, I've got a lot of little branches and things, foliage, I should say, dead foliage. I want to create some of this interest with this. And I put a little bit of it down here. And then we start picking up a lot of the leaves and things in the background. See, and this is where I'll put this in with some of the white, but then I purposely want to put paint on that's going to start to get some more of the foliage here. And whatever other kind of shapes we think we want to put in. Not that it really matters. Okay, except this white is going to be a little too bright, but I'm going to continue using it, and we'll find out in just a minute whether or not it's too much or what. Now this I lost it because I didn't have very dark over here, but we'll let that to come out. And then I'm going to put in a nice little area. Notice where I have this really strong area here. I want just a little small branch that's growing up there, coming all the way down to the bottom, and then it'll come in and then start kind of going over like this. Now when it comes over there, I'll just grab my other pencil now, and I'll start, one of the pencils I should say, and I'll just start coming up and making this real dark, see? So I'll just start including foliage, and same way here. I'm going to include a lot of foliage coming down into this, and then I'll come back over that with white, and have a lot of foliage growing down here. This would be more of a middle tone type foliage, just to break it all up a little bit. And we got a little bit of this coming in here, and then we got a little bit more of the foliage up here, and I'm going to do something else with that in a minute. But real quickly, because I do want to finish this thing. I'm afraid the tape ran out already anyhow, no matter what I try to do. But, okay. We're going to come like this. All right. And let's get one of the softer ones here. Because I really want these leaves to be abstract, okay? Whereas I want to give you the illusion of what it's doing, but not really try to make it too important. And then you always, there's some stuff coming up from down here. You always kind of get all kind of trash stuff like this that you can put in. And in fact, I might even have a little piece coming around the end here with the dark against the light, seeing connecting the one. That, see, this one's not standing out too well. Put a little light under it. Okay, and I think we're getting pretty close now. I have a lot of this maybe overlapping here. Then I'll go back in and take some of this white, and I want to make a few more of these little branches coming down right over here, and then maybe have a little lighter foliage growing in some of these black areas like this. So we'll do this again here, and not even define it, just more or less have stuff going in there. And then we've got another little area here we could put in like this, and maybe have a couple of leaves like that. Whether they stand out too much or not, I don't really care. But here we're going to have our little other area, breaking that up, and then we'll start on the bottom with some of the stuff coming up, see? And I think I'm getting pretty close to what I want to do on this as a quick sketch, and we're going to call it finished. It'll be fun to see how much of this actually is on the tape. I hope a lot, but doesn't matter. We'll just do another one. Okay. Now I don't like to have large areas. I said that was all I was going to do, but I don't like to have large areas solidly in there. So on anything like this, so I can always come in, break up some of this. That's what's nice about this opaque white. It can be as bright as I want it, but the main thing is to come in and break up some of these areas where I've got it looks it's pretty well closing in. All right, let's just put that on there. Appreciate you hanging in there with me. We're just going to go ahead and close it for now, and hope you enjoyed it. And lastly, put the Larry Casso on it and let it ride. 16, let it ride. 16 won't be 16 very long, will it? Thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed it.